In Primorsky Krai, a province in Russia's far east in the Middle Ages, there were many medieval East Asian dynasties that once controlled parts of that region. There were also many interesting peoples in that area before there were state societies in the region. The Mo were a Tungusic people mentioned in Chinese chronicles as early as the 4th and 5th centuries CE, possibly descended from the Yilu and Sushan peoples. Their exact origins remain debated. They had a social hierarchy including nobles, elders, and slaves. Engaging with neighboring states, they were also capable of conducting raids on their adversaries. This period marked the transition from a tribal way of life to form a state. The Mo practiced extensive agriculture and livestock farming. According to Chinese records, by the 7th century there were several dozen Mo tribes, 7 of which were particularly renowned and influential: the Sumo, Gyudo, Manchukuo, Baishan, Heiashi, Haishui, and Fun. These tribes generally refrained from interfering in each other's affairs but would unite against external enemies. Among them, the Haishui Mo lived in the Sungari, Ushuri, and Amur river basins, while the Kaoshi Mo, a lesser-known tribe, inhabited the eastern coast and part of Peter the Great Gulf. Mo settlements were strategically located at river confluences and featured defensive structures, including multi-layered ramparts and moats. Some Mo clans were vassals of Goguryeo, and in 598, during the First Goguryeo-Sui War, the Mo came to the aid of the Koreans. In 641, they allied with the Koreans and the Xianbei tribe known as the Sianto, leading to the outbreak of the Goguryeo-Tang War in 645. However, when the war ended in 668 with the defeat of Goguryeo and its allies, many people fled to Manchuria and Primorye, where the Mo held control. As punishment, several Mo tribes were forced into vassalage under China and scattered, while others were captured, except for the Sumo Mo, who managed to remain united. In 691, during political turmoil in China, the Khitans rebelled against Wu Zetian, causing many inhabitants of Liaoning to flee back to the former lands of Goguryeo, including many Mo who had been held captive in China for over 30 years. China attempted to appease the leaders of these fugitives, Di Yongzheng, Kiki Zhongxiang, and Jil Sabiu Kisi Biu, by offering them noble titles, but both refused. This led to the Battle of Tianmenling in 698 in Jilin, where the Mo and Koreans fought against a Chinese army commanded by General Li Kaigu. Di Jiang, of Mo origin and the son of Di Yongzheng, emerged victorious after his father's death and declared himself the king of Jin, the initial name of the Balhae kingdom. The Balhae were a medieval East Asian kingdom that controlled land in what is today North Korea, Manchuria and northeast China and the Russian Far East, including in the Primorye. During the Balhae kingdom there were Balhae cities in the Russian Far East including Anju or Anju, a coastal port town in the Ambian region. Huizhou, an old city right near modern-day Ushurisk, Russia in the Shubin region. Dingzhou, a Balhae city in the Dingli region, in what is now Primorsky Krai. And on the northwest shore of Lake Manchukuo, now called Lake Kangka, was a city called Yizhou. Yizhou was located right near the modern-day border of Manchuria in China and Russia. It's hard to say if it was in what is now China or Russia or both, but if I had to guess based on the map I would guess the city mostly in what is today China and a little in Russia. Yizhou was in the Dongping region. Then there was Ningzhou, which was a Balhae city on a river in the Primorye in the northeasternmost region in Balhae called Enyuan. Some Chinese historians claim that the city of Vladivostok was the site of a Chinese settlement around 600 AD, where it was known as Yangmingsheng, City of Eternal Light, during the Yuan Dynasty. Parts of Primorsky Krai were conquered by the Khitan Liao dynasty after the fall of the Balhae kingdom in 926 CE. In other parts of Primorye around this time, the Jurchens and Mo were agricultural and fishing peoples living in settlements there. Huaishu, the Wanyan leader from 1103 to 1113, attempts to resolve the conflict with the coalition through diplomacy, but without success, and the battles continue. In 1107, taking advantage of the ongoing chaos, Goryeo sent 170,000 troops into northern Korea and southern Primorye to conquer the region. The Jurchens, both from the coalition and the Wanyan side, suffer defeats and Korea constructs fortresses in the area. However, in 1109 most of the Jurchens, fearing an attack from the Khitans due to their weakened state, regrouped and launched a counterattack against Goryeo, the Suhfan and the Yelen. The remaining Mo, still present in small numbers, join the Jurchens, which helps them defeat Goryeo. Goryeo ultimately sues for peace. Primorye is returned to the Jurchens. A new boundary is established between the Jurchens and Koreans, and the Yelan, Suifan and other tribal leaders align themselves with the Wanyan following their victory over Goryeo. The Jurchen founded the Jin/Jurchen dynasty and was founded in 1115 by Wanyan Aguda. When the dynasty first began, it ruled lands in what is now Primorsky Krai, Russia, Khabarovsk Krai, Russia and eastern Manchuria. After the unification of the Jurchen tribes by the Wanyan clan during the war against Goryeo, Aguda, a Jurchen leader, defies the Liao emperor in 1112 by refusing to attend a ceremonial dance. In September 1114, Ningjiangzhu was captured by Aguda, the leader of the Wanyan clan, effectively initiating his rebellion. The following January he proclaimed himself emperor, founding the Jin dynasty. From 1115 to 1121, the Song dynasty views the Jin as a natural ally against the Liao and formalizes the alliance concluded at sea. However, in 1125, the Jin broke the alliance upon realizing the Song's weakness. It eventually expanded throughout large parts of northern China and parts of northern Korea. Anyways, in the Jin dynasty Supan circuit, which was an administrative division of the Jin/Jurchen Empire, there was a city called Supan right on the same site where Huizhou once stood near the location of modern-day Ushuriysk, Russia. Later on, the Mongol Empire would conquer the Primorye region and force the natives to pay tribute to them, particularly in the form of sable furs. They established administrative posts like Kaiyuan and Yanji by 1235 in the region. They also gained control of the region to counter raids from local peoples. In 1245, a Jurchen revolt against Mongol rule was quickly crushed. Later on, the region was incorporated into the Yuan Dynasty. In what is now Tyr, Khabarovsk Krai, Russia, an important administration called Nurgan was established to control the Nivk and Udej peoples and secure their valuable sable fur trade. In 1266, the Kaiyuan region was re-established as an administrative division within the area. In 1280, 3,000 soldiers were recruited from the Kaiyuan region to participate in the Second Mongol invasion of Japan. In 1327, the Yuan dynasty was launched, and the Mongols controlled the region for a period before eventually withdrawing from it. The Yuan dynasty's policies lead to a brain drain, with many skilled individuals leaving the region, while the Mongols continue to recruit soldiers from the area and send them elsewhere. Resistant Jurchens regroup into small communities. The Mongols, rather than impose strict control, allowed these communities to elect their leaders, providing a degree of autonomy as a compromise to prevent rebellion. In 1368, the Ming dynasty overthrew the Yuan dynasty in China. However, Mongol rule persists in Manchuria. In 1387, the Ming launched a military campaign in Manchuria, successfully bringing the region, including present-day Primorye, under their control. The Jurchen peoples of this region were engaged in agriculture and trade and were semi-sedentary to sedentary. They lived in clans, tribes, and tribal alliances. Many leaders sent embassies to the Ming dynasty, forming peace with the Chinese. Between 1404 and 1434, the Ming dynasty sought to extend its influence. In 1409, it established the Nurgan Regional Military Commission to oversee Manchuria. The commission aimed to spread Buddhism, while Jurchen leaders were appointed as members to ensure their loyalty. Despite the commission's existence, the region remained largely independent, as the central authority had no interest in imposing strong control. In 1491, the fortress of Ts Zayashan was attacked by the Jurchen Nimash people, who captured people and livestock. They were pursued by Chinese troops and the tribe's leader was killed a few days later. Nurhasai, the leader of the Manchukuo tribe, began uniting the Jurchens in 1582. His successes in Manchuria led to the gradual unification of the Jurchens, but Primorye proved more difficult. In 1593, 9 tribes, mostly from Haixi, allied against him, but he crushed their coalition. In 1607, under Nurhasai's orders, Prince Bayala, high-ranking commander Aidu, and adjutant Kurhan led 1,000 men against the Woji tribes. 2 years later, in 1609, a detachment of 1,000 soldiers led by Kurhan invaded the Hunote district, capturing 2,000 families and transporting them to Manchuria. In 1610, the Manchu general Aidu arrived in the Suifan Valley with 1,000 soldiers. He invited the Voji/Woji tribe, who lived in southern Primorye from Suifan to the Partizanskaya River, to join Nurhasai. They refused, and Aidu conquered the region militarily, capturing over 10,000 people in Yelan district, also known as Yelan or Yalan, located in the Partizanskaya River basin. On November 15, 1635, November 25 in the Gregorian calendar, the Manchu troops attacked southern Primorye to conquer the region once and for all, deploying 4 columns of soldiers to different locations. The first, under the command of Yubahai, settled in Ehikulan and Alayuso. The second, led by Dajali, moved toward Yalan, now the Partizanskaya River, Lilin and Hu, modern Dabihi and Suchin rivers. The third, commanded by Jafuni, advanced toward Akulai and Niman, now the Vaku and Aman rivers. And the fourth, under Ushit's command, went to Noli and Avan. The captured indigenous people were organized into 5 special companies, Niru, 2 of which comprised inhabitants from the Suifan River Basin, while the remaining 3 included indigenous people from the Aman River Basin. In 1644, Beijing fell to the Manchus, and the newly established Qing dynasty ruled over China, including Manchuria. During the early reign of Emperor Kangxi, he encouraged the settlement of Primorye tribes in Manchuria or their integration as Qing subjects. To achieve this, he created incentives with honorary distinctions for those who successfully brought in these tribes, either through peaceful means or military campaigns. This policy led to multiple Manchu military expeditions in the region, prompting the Yuchens to request an end to hostilities. Cities were attacked, forcing the Yuchens to flee into the taiga or the mountains, abandoning agriculture and craftsmanship in favor of a return to hunting, gathering, and fishing. Additionally, with the arrival of Siberian Cossacks in the Upper Amur region, present-day Amur Oblast and Transbaikal, indigenous populations from that area migrated into Primorye.